Confirmed 57 people were arrested near the Supreme Court building and charged with crowding, obstructing, or incommoding, and 2 others were arrested for crossing a police line. The Women's March organization's Twitter account shared photos and video of women being arrested. Thousands rallied across the nation, including many on Capitol Hill on Thursday, in solidarity with the university professor who accused Kavanaugh of sexually assaulting her at a high school party in 1982. Kavanaugh has repeatedly denied the allegations. The Women's March held a #CancelKavanaugh event in Washington, D.C. to support Ford as she testified. Protesters rallied at the Capitol Reflecting Pool between 12:30 and 2:30 p.m. A website for the event said if Kavanaugh is confirmed to the Supreme Court, he will not just send a message that sexual violence is rewarded with power, he will also roll back rights that women have worked for a generation to secure. There have been more than 150 arrests in Washington, D.C. this week, according to USA Today. Hundreds of protesters showed up at the Senate office building during Ford's hearing, some wearing black tape on their mouths with words written on the tape that read, "Believe Women." Kavanaugh supporters also demonstrated in Washington, including students from Liberty University. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports U.S. authorities said on Thursday they were mailing more than $505 million of refund checks to nearly 1.18 million people who were victimized in a massive payday lending scheme run by former race car driver and convicted racketeer Scott Tucker. The payout, announced by the Federal Trade Commission, which is working with the Department of Justice, stemmed from a $1.27 billion civil judgment that the FTC won in September 2016 against Tucker and some of his companies. The money will go to consumers who obtained loans from 7 portfolios once serviced by AMG, run by Tucker. Tucker is appealing his October 2017 conviction on racketeering and other charges and his 16-year, 8-month prison sentence. His case arose from a federal crackdown on people who exploit cash-strapped consumers by charging exorbitant interest rates and fees on short-term loans, some of which could tide over borrowers from paycheck to paycheck. Prosecutors said Tucker's companies routinely charged interest rates as high as 700% and took advantage of more than 4 million consumers from 1997 to 2013. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The chimpanzee spends most of its day in the jungle, carelessly swinging from tree to tree and picking mites off itself, instead of building shelter and teaching itself how to read. This chimp is named Bolo, and researchers at Duke University have shown that he can solve 3-dimensional logic puzzles, an impressive feat indeed, until you learn that human children as young as 3 are also able to solve the puzzle. Even a mentally handicapped human is capable of verbal speech, something no chimpanzee has ever been able to accomplish, despite working vocal cords capable of howling in irritation after soiling itself. Chimps have been observed using tools, but their tools are little more than sticks. Even driving and preparing pancakes, tasks we leave to the stupidest, least educated humans, lay beyond the capabilities of the chimp.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Welcome to Free Talk Live. You can join us here if you want. The toll-free number for you to take control of the airwaves is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Also, we do have our Discord on-air call-in line rooms, which will make you sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. And in that studio, you will find me, Ian.
And Daryl.
Of course, we'll talk to you about anything you want to talk about. Also, on the way here tonight, apparently Twitter's cranking up the rules on posts. They're going to ban dehumanizing comments now. Whatever that means, we can tell you more about it.
It means what they want it to mean, basically.
Right. And apparently, Facebook has been hacked, looking at possibly 50 million users' data being put at risk. But Daryl, you've got what sounds like an outrageous story about the Department of Justice targeting journalists for FISA court demands.
Yeah, and this actually isn't anything new. The targeting of journalists, that is.
But there's evidence of it now.
Yes, and we knew,
like a policy of some sort.
We've had evidence for a while that it was happening, because I forget if it was the Associated Press or UPI. It was one of those two entities that several years ago had several months of all of their phone records collected by the NSA, because somebody was doing a story about a terrorist organization and they had a source. And, we got to figure out who this source is and who's doing what, so give us every phone record, which potentially wound up revealing a bunch of sources on a bunch of different stories. Luckily, as far as I'm aware, no sources were actually revealed on any of these things. So we've known for a while that, federal government, for various reasons, has targeted journalists. Story from the Freedom of the Press Foundation from about a week and a half ago says, today we are revealing for the first time the DOJ's rules for targeting journalists with secret FISA court orders. The documents were obtained as part of a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit brought by the Freedom of the Press Foundation and Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia University. While civil liberties advocates have long suspected secret FISA courts may have been used and abused to conduct surveillance on journalists, the government, to our knowledge, has never actually acknowledged that they have ever even contemplated doing so before the release of these documents. The FISA court rules below are entirely separate from and much less stringent than rules for obtaining subpoenas, court orders, and warrants against journalists as laid out by the DOJ's media guidelines, which former Attorney General Eric Holder strengthened in 2015 after several scandals involving surveillance of journalists during the Obama era. And I think the collection of phone records from, again, I forget if it's the AP or UPI. I think the collection of those phone records was 2013 or 2014. Continuing on here, when using the legal authorities named in the media guidelines, the DOJ must go through a fairly stringent multi-part test. For example, certifying that the information is critical to an investigation, that it can't be obtained by other means, and that the DOJ exhausted all of other avenues before doing so. Those things have to be done before targeting a journalist with surveillance. They must also get approval from the Attorney General. With the FISA court rules, there is no multi-part test that we know of. The DOJ only must follow its regular FISA court procedures, which can be less strict than getting a warrant in a criminal case, and get additional approval from the Attorney General or Assistant Attorney General. FISA court orders are also inherently secret, and targets are almost never informed that they exist. The documents raise several concerning questions. 1. How many times have FISA court orders been used to target journalists? The memo that accompanies these rules strongly suggests that there have been journalists subject to FISA court orders in the past, consistent with the determination such applicants targeting members of the media shall be reviewed by the Attorney General or Deputy Attorney General, and that it's entirely possible that there are such orders that are active right now.
Sure.
How many journalists have been targeted total, and are any currently under FISA investigation? Why did the DOJ keep these rules secret, even their very existence? Meaning, not only were the rules secret, but they weren't even telling anybody, we have some secret rules. When the DOJ updated its media guidelines in 2015 with great fanfare, FISA court orders are exempt from the media guidelines, yet apparently these rules existed in secret at least since then. Could have been prior to as well. And the third question that the Freedom of the Press Foundation says that this raises, if these rules can now be released to the public, Why are the FBI's very similar rules for targeting journalists with due process-free national security letters still considered classified? And is the DOJ targeting journalists with national security letters and FISA orders to get around the stricter media guidelines?
Now, remember what a national security letter is. You may or may not be familiar, dear listener, with what that concept is. This is a secret letter that the federal law enforcement will send you saying, okay, we want this from you. And
they don't send it to you. They have someone come hand it to you.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that level of...
it is that level. And...
so wait, when you say somebody, could that include like a postal service person with a registered letter,
like
certified
FBI,
letter?
It's got to be like FBI or
wow.
U.S.
See, I didn't
Marshal.
realize that. I just figured it was a piece of mail that showed up someday. And it was here's a threat.
Or at least not based off of the information that I've heard from people like Andrew Napolitano.
Huh. Okay.
And these things, there's a clause in, I think it's the USA Patriot Act, that authorized these national security letters.
Right.
That makes it illegal to discuss the national security letter with anyone.
Right.
Anyone.
Like your attorney or whatever.
Like your attorney. And there's one case where there was a librarian that got one of these from an FBI agent, and she called over another librarian. Do you know anything about this thing?
Violation.
And she then got hit with a felony for discussing the national security letter because she had no clue what it was.
Right. It's a letter that's, from what I understand, approved by these FISA courts. And they're, stamping batches of these things every single year.
Right.
And then, and like you're saying, it's now apparently handed to the person. I didn't realize that detail of this. But
yeah,
then
that's what I had always been told.
Yeah. Well, when I hear letter, I think, oh, that's being sent through the mail. So it's handed to the victim, the person who's being targeted by the government, and it instructs them, yeah, you can't reveal the fact that you've received this letter.
Right.
So therefore, you have become, because usually the letters are demanding some sort of data. They're demanding that the person provide information. So like the librarian would have been demanded to provide who rented certain books or whatever.
And according to the Wiki article, it says national security letters do not require approval from a judge.
No,
so
no kidding.
even less oversight than the FISA orders.
So the FBI just gets to issue them just straight up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And so very, very disturbing on a variety of different levels. I mean, the idea that in the so-called free country of the United States that the government would be able to have a secretive demand letter being sent to people demanding their obedience, demanding that they provide some sort of data, some sort of information to these government agents, and refusing to, and threatening them further, not just refusing to allow them, but threatening them with criminal action if they don't follow through, if they don't obey, if they challenge this, that's evidence that they told somebody about it. And it's such a disturbing concept. There has been this thing created called the warrant canary that can kind of help you understand when these things are being given out. And the idea behind the warrant canary is somebody, let's say an organization or an individual, has a website on which they have a notice that says, we have not been contacted by law enforcement regarding blah, blah, blah. And then if that message disappears from their website, that's the evidence that they've been contacted without them actually having to say they've been contacted.
Correct.
So there's more coming up here in moments. Your calls, thoughts, welcome. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, whether you want to comment on national security letters or whatever.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up, and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food. The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished. Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free. Take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. We're talking about the FISA courts apparently being used to target journalists. And it's not speculation anymore. There's official government documents that have now been revealed due to national security letter, about national security letters and other things like that being revealed because of Freedom of Information Act request. By what was the organization that's reporting on this?
The Freedom of the Press Foundation.
Freedom of the Press Foundation.
Really good organization.
Sounds like it. And we're going to continue with that discussion here. Of course, you're welcome to weigh in. Our number 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Liberty.menu is where you can go.
Also a good organization.
Yeah.
Or website.
Oh, there's I'm sure, a small group of people behind it. I know Patrick, the guy who runs the thing, is almost a one-man band.
Right.
But Liberty.menu, you can use code FTL there, and that'll get you a special listener badge on a site that allows you to create entries on a map and put information in there about your business. Like, where are you located? What do you do? Why should libertarians be, patronizing you with their business? This is a place where libertarians, people who are individuals who reject the initiation of force and who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, a place where those people are welcome to find like-minded business owners. Also, not just business owners, but events coordinators, digital content providers. If you're a liberty-minded person and you do a thing, you can put that thing that you do on liberty.menu, and then other liberty-minded folks will find it. And it's free to use it, so why not? Unless you want to be quiet, unless you want to keep it quiet that you're a libertarian for whatever reason. If you're ready to be known, then get over to liberty.menu, and maybe you get some new business in the door. Or maybe it'll be, not through your front door, but maybe through the internet door.
The digital door.
Yeah. So go to liberty.menu and get started there. It's totally free to list whatever it is that you want to on the site. So you're sharing from this Freedom of the Press organization, and continue with the story here.
Yeah. So again, they wound up getting this information through a FOIA lawsuit.
So they wouldn't turn it over. They had to sue to get it.
Yes, they had to sue,
right.
Which is one of the tactics that a lot of government entities wind up using.
Stonewalling?
To wind up, protecting information.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, we're exempt, or we don't have any documents. And then you have to take them to court.
Right.
And then say, well, no, I'm fairly certain you do have documents. And then it's a very costly process, and most people don't have the money to go through the process. But I'm guessing that the Freedom of the Press Foundation has some pro bono lawyers helping them. They say we officially filed our FOIA lawsuit in part because we knew the DOJ had already kept the use of national security letters against members of the media exempt from the media guidelines. Those separate and still secret rules are in a redacted appendix in the FBI's Domestic Investigation and Operations Guide. A version was leaked to The Intercept in 2016, and they read very similar to those unredacted FISA court rules, which they do have the PDF embedded in this article that I just posted on the Telegram that then goes to, Twitter and Mastodon?
Free Talk Live social media, yeah. The Free Talk Live Mastodon at toot.freetalklive.com, our Twitter over at twitter.freetalklive.com, or you can just directly subscribe to our Telegram channel at telegram.freetalklive.com.
The fact that these were kept secret during the Obama administration is cause for great concern. Now, President Trump has repeatedly stated his hatred for the media, and his Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, has already tripled the amount of leak investigations since the Obama administration, when they were already at an all-time high.
So Trump is, critic of the media, but he's also come out talking about this so-called deep state as though he's, not a part of whatever that concept is. I can't, define what the deep state is, but presumably it's something that's a little more secret. Well, this sounds like it's basically the deep state, if there is such a thing like that, that is operating secretly. It does not want to be revealed what its operations are. And it sounds like something that Trump would absolutely utilize against his enemies in the media.
Certainly. And the Freedom of the Press Foundation asked the question, has the Trump administration used FISA court orders to target journalists with surveillance? If so, when?
Gonna need to sue to find that out, I imagine.
This is critically important information at a time when press freedom has been under threat from the government, and its role in our democracy has never been more important. We hope the DOJ will answer these questions immediately.
Yeah, right.
I don't think they're holding their breath.
Yeah.
They're just saying,
right.
Hey, we've got some questions we would love you to answer. They then say special thanks to our co-plaintiffs and legal counsel for this case, the Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia University. You can read their full analysis of the secret FISA court rules, and then they link over to that, and they finish by saying, we hope this is just the first of many documents from the still running FOIA case about the government surveillance of journalists we will be able to share with the public in the coming months.
Right. So maybe if there are journalists out there paying attention to this, they need to take their privacy a little bit more seriously. So it didn't specify in this story exactly by what means they are surveilling. I don't think these journalists. I don't know if they have the right to tap their phones, or like how far is this surveillance going.
Right. So the memo here is just, here are the guidelines for being able to surveil the journalist. Yeah. Not here are the guidelines of how you surveil the journalist.
Right. And you're saying that now FISA is different from the national security letters.
Correct.
The national
security letters don't go before any court.
Right. So
it's basically one FBI agent telling another FBI agent, hey, I need to get some info on somebody. Oh, all right. Here you go. I'll write up your letter.
You want to write my letter on a thing? So sort of like back in high school, I don't know if you ever skipped school, but it'd be like you and your buddy writing excuse letters for one another, and then those being accepted as valid.
Yeah.
Please excuse Ian. He wanted to go to Shoney's today.
Signed Mom.
No, just signed.
How'd you know I went to Shoney's? Did I tell you that before?
No, that's where I went when I skipped on those stupid. We had those stupid standardized test things, and I was just like filling in random blocks to spell out words in the thing, and I was told, "Don't come back tomorrow because you're going to wind up screwing up the averages." Blah 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 blah. Yeah. And if you don't finish taking the test, then we don't submit it for scoring. So me and a bunch of my buddies went to Shoney's because they had a breakfast buffet.
I love the breakfast buffet, man. That's what we did. We went there, except we would actually go before school. So we had like a regular group that went at like 6 in the morning when they first opened. Because schools, they start early, right? Like high school, you're starting at like 7 or 8 or whatever damn time it was. So we had to get to Shoney's earlier. Yeah. And it was a lot of fun, back in the day. And they had a good breakfast buffet.
Yeah, they did.
Anyway, toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. Are they still in business?
I think so.
855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever you want here. Look, journalists, heads up. If you're going to threaten the government, and you should, and what I mean by that is not with violent threats, but threaten them with information. Threaten them by showing the truth to the people. They're going to target you. They're going to take a very high interest in whatever it is that you're doing so they can find a reason to come after you. And so you ought to encrypt as much of your communications as you possibly can. Just as a basic starting rule. There's more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Ever wonder how Bitcoin and Ethereum were created? Vercel Media has helped hundreds of companies and individuals make their own cryptocurrency. Decentralized blockchain solutions are making the world more transparent and giving power back to the people. Vercel Media has helped companies raise tens of millions in the past year alone, structuring and marketing ICOs to the thirsty crypto public worldwide. Don't miss the cryptocurrency revolution. Visit vercelmedia.com, VERCEL media.com.
California is reeling from Super Rainbow Percival, which left a trail of devastation along the West Coast. A luminous band of destruction touched down in Santa Barbara. Percival set a record as the most powerful rainbow in U.S. history, with at least 30 confirmed fatalities and damage estimates in the billions. The vividly saturated colors seared through homes and roads, charring everything in its path. Those exposed to the rainbow's fury say they're lucky to be alive.
The sky was completely blue. All of a sudden, it's filled with brilliant hues of red and indigo.
All I can say is when I was a kid, rainbows didn't cut people in half.
Meteorologists say that Percival is just the latest in a pattern of increasingly dangerous rainbows, and that they're only growing stronger as global temperatures rise. Percival also comes on the heels of some extreme weather phenomena overseas. Authorities in the Philippines are still searching for thousands in the aftermath of mega sunset Wilma.
This is the Onion News Network.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hey, yeah, it's Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free, take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Just head on over to discord.lrn.fm, and you can jump into any one of those 3 rooms there at the top of the list, and we will join you, and then you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. And it's Ian and Daryl. We're talking about FISA courts, or FISA courts, which I forget what that stands for. But
Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. First word, foreign.
But they're surveilling local journalists in the United States.
See, we think that you might be connected to somebody that's connected to somebody foreign that we want to surveil, so therefore you're a secondary or tertiary target.
By the way, we were looking at also Shoney's, the southern restaurant chain. Just curious to see, where they are these days. According to Wikipedia, they only have 150 company and franchise Shoney's in 17 states. To me, that sounds like they're way down from what they used to be.
Right, and I think at one time Shoney's and Big Boy were part of the same company, but Wiki is showing that Big Boy only has 77 places in the U.S. now, 279 in Japan.
According to this, in 1984, Shoney's was the largest Big Boy franchise with 392 Shoney's Big Boy restaurants, representing more than a third of the national Big Boy chain. So if that was more than a third, then that means there were over 1,000 Big Boys at that time. So
yeah,
a lot of these old chains just, they're not what they used to be. Everything from Shoney's to Ponderosa Steakhouse. Some of these guys,
those darn millennials,
they're barely hanging on. You blaming millennials for this?
That's tongue planted firmly in cheek.
Oh,
because I see all of these headlines where, some newspaper writer is blaming millennials for fill in the blank. TGI Friday's sell went down. It's because of millennials.
Oh, wow.
This is something. It's because of millennials.
Well, according to this here, it looks like the chain peaked in 1998, which would have been around the time when you or I were in high school going to
98. I'd have been in college.
Yeah. The chain operated at that time over 1,300 corporate or franchise restaurants in 34 states, and it says here none of those businesses are a part of the Shoney's restaurant enterprise today. In 2000, they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection and were acquired by a Texas-based investment group a couple of years later in 2007. That group announced that the Shoney's chain, which was then down to 282 restaurants, was being sold again to apparently the CEO of the corporation that's behind Church's Chicken. So, yeah, apparently not a single store that they had 20 years ago is actually still there today. So whatever stores they have are new as of the last 20 years. So anyway, so whether you want to talk about Shoney's or old restaurant chains or FISA courts, we're happy to discuss anything here on Free Talk Live. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And then again, the Discord chat over at discord.lrn.fm. Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you about Bitcoin.com. And it's not hard. I mean, it's not an easy thing to forget Bitcoin.com because it's a great URL. It's easy to remember. You go to Bitcoin.com, you'll get some of the latest news headlines through their news site at news.bitcoin.com about Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency world around the planet. And also, you can buy your first Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash through Bitcoin.com and go there and use their Bitcoin Academy and learn the basics about Bitcoin. Anytime you want, they're there for you. Go to Bitcoin.com. As we continue here, I just wanted to kind of focus on the journalists that are being targeted. We don't know how many of them there are. That's one of the questions that this Freedom of the Press organization had been asking about this, and it's likely they're going to have to sue the Department of Justice again to try to get that information out of them.
Right, and they do mention that they have an ongoing lawsuit.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't know if you can just add questions to an ongoing lawsuit. You may end up having to file a completely new suit if they, you ask them the questions, they refuse to give them to you, and then you sue, right? Because at least that's how it works here in New Hampshire. Is with the Freedom of Information Act, you can send a bunch of questions to some bureaucracy. They write back, and if they give you the answers, then that's that. Or if they don't, you have to sue them to try
technically
to get it out.
You don't ask them a bunch of questions. You say, provide me documents related to
X, Y, or Z.
And then you state the specific things. So you can ask them questions all day long of, what's the name of the guy that wrote this memo? They don't have to answer that. But if you say, give me all documents related to
this guy,
this particular memo, then they have to give you all of the document. Now they could wind up saying, we don't have any. And then it's up to you to take them to court and spend a bunch of time and money. And they basically have unlimited money because they'll just raise your taxes to fight you in court.
Yeah, so they basically can do whatever they want to do, and it's hard to call them on it. And now that we know for sure they are targeting these journalists, that again raises a set of questions that we went over earlier. But meanwhile, journalists need to do something about that. They need to protect themselves as much as they possibly can in their communications with people. So take the time to learn about some of the methods that you have at your disposal. We do have the ability to easily have an extra layer of security on our devices. Now, whether you want to argue that's any good whatsoever, because if we had Chris with us tonight, and he's not here, he's got some family in town, he couldn't join us tonight, but our resident privacy fanatic, Chris Wade.
I would say both of the Chris's know a good deal about privacy.
Yeah, but Chris Wade, who's our normal Friday night co-host, you're talking about your Chris on Thursday nights. Chris Wade on Friday nights is an obsessive.
He turns it up to 11.
Yeah, if it goes further than 11, he turns it all the way up to he possibly can.
Just to point out how far he turns it up, I asked him a simple question of, and I didn't ask from the privacy standpoint, fill in the blank. My question was, are progressive web apps better than a full-on app that somebody downloads?
What's a progressive web app?
AnyPay would be an example of a progressive web app.
Okay.
To where you don't download an application.
Exists on the internet and you use
There's
it there.
a page on the internet that you wind up saving something to the home page, and then when you open it, opens as if it were an app, but it's a website. And my question was, is it easier to, from like a developer standpoint, to update a progressive web app or a full-on app? And he said, neither one's secure, and I don't like using either unless I can look at the code of everything, and I actually want to be able to look at the code of every website that I go to.
Yeah.
So that's turning it up to 11.
Yeah, it's way beyond 11.
He's like, I don't even want to use electronics unless I can look at the schematics and know the names of the people that put it together and
I am
blot it off.
So glad that people like him exist.
So let's talk about somebody that doesn't turn it up to 11. Edward Snowden.
Okay.
He knows a thing or two about privacy stuff as well.
Purportedly, yes.
Given
that he used to work for the NSA as a contractor.
And he's put out a list of Edward Snowden approved privacy tools.
Okay, is this from a few years ago? Is there a date on this list?
Yeah, 10/3/17.
Okay,
So
okay, pretty fresh
right
then.
out a year ago.
Okay.
Signal Messenger.
He's been promoting Signal for a while.
Yes.
Obviously the hole that Chris would punch in this if he were here is that your phone just isn't secure from the word go, that the NSA could get into your phone if they wanted to, that kind of thing. And it even if Signal's encrypting your communications, it doesn't help if they're snagging the data before it even gets, before you press the enter key to put whatever it is you're typing into Signal for it to get encrypted and sent to the recipient. So if they've got you, if they have total ownership of your phone remotely, then it doesn't matter. None of this matters. But that's not to say you shouldn't use Signal. It's important to know.
Again, you're turning the paranoia up to 11.
Yeah.
If you're a target, you're a target.
Yeah, that's true. Well, these people are being targeted, these journalists. There's more coming up here. Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink, like we have. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value. Made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch. Guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue Diamond Gusset's got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Take control of the airwaves here. We're talking about privacy. And speaking of that, there's not so good news coming out of Facebook. Apparently they got hacked. Potentially 50 million users' data is at risk as a result of that. It's Ian and Daryl in the studio here with you tonight. And also, I want to thank Free Talk Live amplifiers like Mitch, who is a platinum amplifier. He is giving $25 per month, at least. If you do more than 25, you're still a platinum. Platinum's our highest level of amplification. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It's a way for you to get behind Free Talk Live and help us get this show on more radio stations around the country, bring new internet listeners on board, expose new people to the ideas of freedom. And Mitch is somebody who values that, and he's been a long time Free Talk Live amplifier, so thank you for that. And thank you to everybody, even if you're just doing what we ask, which is $5 a month. That's the silver level, and that's what most people do. You can go to, although a lot of folks do gold, which is $10 a month. Anyway, whatever is comfortable for you, head on over to amp.freetalklive.com. You can use credit card, you can use PayPal, you can use Bitcoin BTC. And you'll get access to special AMP-only perks like the AMP-only Facebook group. There's the AMP-only call-in lines. There's the AMP-only podcast. And more than that, you also get access to special supporters rooms on our Discord chat. There's a special Free Talk Live badge for amplifiers on our forum and more. Just head over to amp.freetalklive.com and you can learn more about the AMP program there and get signed up. That's amp.freetalklive.com. We're kind of going through, and I think this is, it's something we've covered before, but we've always got new listeners tuning in. It doesn't hurt to cover this ground again, especially given the fact that the government is they're not getting any smaller. They're certainly not getting less invasive when they, it comes to your privacy. The idea of privacy, as we've seen with Facebook and these other companies that, of course, encourage people to turn over information to them voluntarily, it's harder and harder to have privacy in this world that we're living in now. But there are still tools, and you have the list of Snowden approved or Snowden recommended. Edward Snowden, the guy who, for those living under a rock, in 2013, he revealed all manner of information that was very damaging to the reputation of the government, specifically its NSA and other government agencies doing a lot of spying.
Right.
And so he's coming out saying, use Signal. And I agree. I like Signal. I think it's a fine app. It is open source from what I understand. It's an encrypted...
And they don't keep logs other than...
So they say.
Here, well, they have gotten subpoenas previously of, we want logs for this user. And
Sorry,
all they were able to turn over is, here's the date that this account was created.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last time it was used. That's all they know.
Okay.
The article here going over these 6 things, they've got a paragraph about each one. They say Signal is an encrypted instant messaging smartphone app. I know what you're thinking. The WikiLeaks report says the CIA could get the information even before the Signal encryption takes effect. But if you stay up to date with your operating system security patches, Signal still remains useful.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The WikiLeaks data does not show that any encrypted chats have actually been cracked. And if your operating system is buggy, then no level of encryption is going to help you anyway.
Right. So keep your operating system up to date. Use Signal. It's a good app. It's free. There's really no reason not to use it because even if the NSA somehow got backdoor access to your smartphone, at the very least,
which, as I understand, they would have to get physical possession of the phone anyway.
Unless they're using some kind of an exploit, which may or may not have been patched. I mean, anything's possible, right? You never want to think that you've got true security.
So in theory, you could download something that you think is a completely different file
Or Daryl, there could just be a security bug in your operating system, and the NSA is able to exploit that. That's why they keep patching these systems, because they keep finding exploitable weaknesses in them.
Right. So taking advantage of an exploit is different. What I thought you were saying is the NSA could just send a file to your phone.
No.
Which is what some people think that.
But if they have full access to the phone, they certainly could do that. But if an exploit gives them full access, I mean, again, I don't know what all the various different exploits are. They're constantly patching and solving these things. But some phones don't get security updates. You buy the phone, and you never get a single update, after that. So you never really know. You shouldn't take the fact that you're using these tools as pure 100% guarantee that your communications are secure.
Right.
You should always be careful and understand that there's, where there's a will and the time and the effort and the money, there's a way to crack whatever security there is.
Right.
So you use this. I'm not saying don't use it. I'm just saying beware that it may not be a perfect solution. It is something to make life more difficult for the government.
Right.
And it will definitely make life more difficult on, let's say, lower level government agencies like the police or the state police, who, if they wanted to subpoena your text messaging records from your smart or from your cell phone provider, they can easily get that from them. And that'll have, if you're not using Signal, it'll have every text you've ever sent to anybody you've ever sent them to. Whereas if you are using Signal and the other person has Signal, then they will, at the very least, that kind of subpoena will get them useless garbage, because they won't know that those texts are there. So that's one reason to use Signal. But just a word of caution: it ain't going to be a perfect solution. Don't do drug deals.
If
or whatever.
You're the target of some kind of investigation, they are going to find info on you.
Yeah.
But again, these things make it a little more difficult. The next on the list is Tor.
Yep.
Tor stands for the Onion Router, which basically, like an onion, adds layers to the request you're sending out through your browser. So when you ask your browser to bring up a website, the request does not go straight to the site. It gets routed through several different countries before going to you, and then it obscures your location.
Tor is from what I can tell, a pretty darn good tool. It's been in use for a long time. It's being updated constantly over time. However, there have been some pretty serious security breaches as far as sites that have been on the Tor network have been identified by the government, as far as they're supposed to be secret, but the government manages to figure out where they are and how they're being run. So the Silk Road, of course, is one of the more noteworthy cases of this happening, where it never really was truly explained in any understandable manner as to how the federal government detected where the Silk Road website was being run.
Right.
And those questions weren't allowed to be, or they weren't asked in the
trial.
Because
the guy that wrote up the documentation never took the stand,
so they never
so that he
talked to
can
him.
never be cross-examined.
Right, so we never got to find out why that was. So there may be some flaws we don't know in Tor. However, all the evidence suggests, the bulk of the evidence is there are a bunch of sites that have been on Tor, like these underground darknet marketplace websites where drugs are bought and sold.
Right, but you can do just regular web browsing through Tor well. It obscures, and that's what they're talking about here, is helping to obscure
just specifically
a normal website for journalists.
Browsing?
They say journalists, activists, and those using the internet from countries where free speech is restricted use Tor regularly for safety, not just for privacy.
Correct, because if you're using Tor, again, Tor may not be a perfect system. However, what it will do is it will make it so your internet service provider, much in the same way like Verizon or whoever your cell phone provider can read your text messages unless you're using Signal, same thing's true for your internet provider. Whether you're using Comcast or whoever it is that happens to be your ISP, when you're typing in on a regular browser, if you're typing in freetalklive.com, you press enter, and then it sends a request to what's called the DNS service, or domain name system, or whatever it stands for, that each company that provides you internet service runs one of these servers. It's basically the phone book for the internet. Right, the phone book, you'd look up a name, you'd get the number. Same thing here. You request freetalklive.com, there's a lookup that happens, and it happens in an instant, so you don't know that that it's happening. It's instantaneous, where it looks up, oh, what's Free Talk Live's IP address? Boom, there it is. And then behind the scenes, that's what it's doing, is it's contacting the IP address. So when you're on Tor, those requests go through the Tor network. They don't go through your internet service provider. You're connected to Tor through your ISP, but all your ISP knows is, oh, there's encrypted data going on this particular channel. We don't know what that is.
Correct.
So all the websites you're visiting over Tor, the internet service provider doesn't know where you're going. They don't know the information you're entering into those websites. They don't know what websites you're visiting. So therefore, when law enforcement comes to them with a subpoena saying turn over all their records, well, if you've been putting everything through Tor, if you're a journalist and every single thing you're doing is going over Tor, then they won't be able to show them anything. So that's an important tool. Even though there are still some uncertain things about Tor, and there are some weak ways to use Tor, like by having JavaScript turned on, which strangely is on by default when you start the Tor browser up. So people need to know about that.
I didn't know it was on by default.
Yeah, which is weird. I don't know why they set it up that way. Hour number 2's next.
Stocks and options trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Hey guys, it's Scott Bauer here, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. Are you looking for a super hot stock tip? Here at Prosper, we are always looking for exciting opportunities in the markets. And right now, all my students are salivating over this stock we are watching. In fact, I've got this hot stock written down right here, and I'm about to text it to you for free. I just need to know where to send it. Simply text HOT to 48542, and I'll text it to you instantly. How do I know this stock is so hot? Well, I'm a former CBOE market maker for Amazon Options, former vice president of Goldman Sachs, and I have over 25 years of professional trading experience. I'm telling you, this stock is hot. But be warned, the stock may move soon, so you need to claim it before it does. Text HOT to 48542, and I'll text you this hot stock instantly. Text HOT to 48542, and I'll text you this hot stock instantly. Message and data rates may apply.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, September 28th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.46 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,185 per ounce. Zen is trading at $17, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,609. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. spends far more on its military than any other nation on Earth, but very soon it will not be the top expenditure of the U.S. government budget. Rather, rising interest rates and years of mounting debt mean that soon interest on the debt will overtake it. Interest costs will be $390 billion next year and more than $900 billion within a decade, according to the Congressional Budget Office. At present, U.S. military budgets are in the $700 billion range and themselves constantly growing. Somewhere, these two growing lines will intersect, and the runaway military spending is a big reason why. There's simply no way for the U.S. to keep pouring substantial portions of $1 trillion down the well annually for the military without borrowing, and that debt is just growing. The U.S. debt is huge, and that is in no small part because of decades of runaway military spending and trillions dumped into nuclear weapons. Lawmakers largely are not interested in this matter right now, likely reflecting their unwillingness to cut military spending to try to get the debt back in line.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports as many as 59 people were arrested during protest outside a hearing on Christine Blasey Ford's sexual assault allegation against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh on Thursday, according to the U.S. Capitol Police. Capitol Police confirmed 57 people were arrested near the Supreme Court building and charged with crowding, obstructing, or incommoding, and 2 others were arrested for crossing a police line. The Women's March organization's Twitter account shared photos and video of women being arrested. Thousands rallied across the nation, including many on Capitol Hill on Thursday, in solidarity with the university professor who accused Kavanaugh of sexually assaulting her at a high school party in 1982. Kavanaugh has repeatedly denied the allegations. The Women's March held a #CancelKavanaugh event in Washington, D.C. to support Ford as she testified. Protesters rallied at the Capitol Reflecting Pool between 12:30 and 2:30 p.m. A website for the event said if Kavanaugh is confirmed to the Supreme Court, he will not just send a message that sexual violence is rewarded with power, he will also roll back rights that women have worked for a generation to secure. There have been more than 150 arrests in Washington, D.C. this week, according to USA Today. Hundreds of protesters showed up at the Senate office building during Ford's hearing, some wearing black tape on their mouths with words written on the tape that read, "Believe Women." Kavanaugh supporters also demonstrated in Washington, including students from Liberty University. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports U.S. authorities said on Thursday they were mailing more than $505 million of refund checks to nearly 1.18 million people who were victimized in a massive payday lending scheme run by former race car driver and convicted racketeer Scott Tucker. The payout, announced by the Federal Trade Commission, which is working with the Department of Justice, stemmed from a $1.27 billion civil judgment that the FTC won in September 2016 against Tucker and some of his companies. The money will go to consumers who obtained loans from 7 portfolios once serviced by AMG, run by Tucker. Tucker is appealing his October 2017 conviction on racketeering and other charges and his 16-year, 8-month prison sentence. His case arose from a federal crackdown on people who exploit cash-strapped consumers by charging exorbitant interest rates and fees on short-term loans, some of which could tide over borrowers from paycheck to paycheck. Prosecutors said Tucker's companies routinely charged interest rates as high as 700% and took advantage of more than 4 million consumers from 1997 to 2013. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Markets went into a frenzy today after the price of money suddenly skyrocketed to $90 a dollar. Onion reporter spoke to economics professor Mark Cosgrave about the soaring cost of U.S. currency and the impact of increasingly unpredictable dollar-to-dollar rates.
Right now, money prices are steeply rising with no signs of slowing down. This morning alone, the price of dollars nearly tripled, with 1 cent worth approximately $6. That's exponentially higher than even a week ago when money was trading at roughly $53 on the dollar. To put it bluntly, we're now in the midst of a national economic crisis.
According to Cosgrave, the abrupt spike in dollar prices initially caused many Americans to hold on to their money, hoping that the $90 cost of dollars would soon dip back down. But as prices continued to climb, investors panicked and began purchasing as much money as possible.
But with the cost of quarters hitting $4.97 and the $5 bill jumping to a 12-year high of $372, the days when you could get $30 or $40 for just a couple of bucks are unfortunately long gone.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want here as we launch into the second hour of the program. Joining you tonight, it's Ian
and Daryl.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, you can join us on our Discord, on-air call-in line rooms, on our Discord server. Go to discord.lrn.fm. You should have the Discord app installed. I mean, you don't need to use the chat aspect of Discord, and it is mostly our chat server. You can chat with other Free Talk Live listeners. But if you want to get on the air with us through the Discord call-in lines, you should have their app installed first, and then go in your web browser to discord.lrn.fm, and that'll jump you right into our server, and you can join the chat rooms. The on-air call-in line rooms there are at the top of the list. And you can bring up anything that you want. We're talking about security, and we're going to continue on with the list of Snowden-recommended security programs, procedures. We'll continue it. We've been through
privacy tools.
Right, we've been through 2 of the 6 so far, but first we go to your phone calls and thoughts. And let's go to somebody who doesn't know anything about privacy online because she doesn't go online. Sarah in New Mexico.
That's the best way to stay private online is to never use the internet.
There you go. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, so I'm just so excited about the self-driving buses in Cleveland, Ohio. Really? And I'm like, when are we going to get those here in New Mexico?
So, Ian, we talked about these on Wednesday when you were at the tobacco hearing.
Yeah.
Where the city of, and I think it's Columbus, that to start out, they're going to get 3, quote, self-driving buses that still require a fleet operator to sit in the driver's seat in case he needs to take over control. And these things are basically minivans. They have capacity for 5 passengers, which legally speaking, not a bus. And the people that drive for COTA, which is the Columbus, Ohio Transit Authority, their union, and they're threatening to go on strike to prove that they're more important and they're more needed than some autonomous vehicle. And I asked the question, if you really want to prove that you're more needed than an autonomous vehicle, don't stop working. Keep doing your job.
This says here, according to WSPD Radio in Toledo, that there is a manufacturer of a fully electric 15-passenger shuttle. And
I'm sure there is a manufacturer of something, but the city of Columbus, according to the articles that we read, they're getting 5 passengers.
5 passengers, okay. So, Sarah, you're very excited. Is this the 5-passenger one you're excited about or the 15-passenger one?
Well, the thing about it is that we don't have no self-driving buses at all here in New Mexico. And, we're always like, we're the last ones. Like, New Mexico's the only one.
No, you're not the last ones, because right now the only ones who are even talking about it apparently is Ohio. But I'm sure it will spread, especially if it results in being able to fire the people who were the bus drivers previously, because that's a cost-cutting measure. Are you saying you support people losing their jobs, Sarah?
Well, the thing about it is that New Mexico is number 1 in pedestrian, bicycle, hit and run, and motorcycle fatalities.
So what's that have to do with anything?
Wasn't it New Mexico where the autonomous car ran the woman over at 2 o'clock in the morning?
That was Phoenix. That was Arizona.
Arizona. Okay. Southwest, Desert Southwest.
So we're going to be like that. Oh, yeah, the Mississippi and New Mexico, they're the only one that they don't have one.
You're going to be the Mississippi of Mexico?
No, she was saying Mississippi and New Mexico would be the only states that don't have it because they're poor, typically very poor, seen as poor states.
Got it.
It's like everybody else had it like 30 years ago. And that's why
nobody had self-driving buses 30 years ago, Sarah.
But Sarah, you dodged my question. Are you saying
she does that all the time?
Yeah, I know.
She never answers a question.
Every now and then I can pin her down. Sarah, are you saying you support firing all of the bus drivers?
Thing.
The thing is, the bus drivers are very selfish. We have 37,000 people killed by cars. And all they care about is their jobs.
Wow. So you are saying that these bus drivers mean nothing to you. The fact that they have families, the fact that they have, bills to pay, they've got mouths to feed, you're saying that means nothing to you. You want to throw them to the wolves and just eliminate all their jobs because you're worried about some pedestrians?
Well, it's you know what?
How many of the pedestrian fatalities, you're not answering my question, so I'll just keep asking them. How many of the pedestrian fatalities that you are citing are actually caused by bus drivers?
Well, the whole thing is that the self-driving cars are going to be
You're right. She's not answering.
Yeah, she doesn't answer questions. She just has some talking points.
It's
that
too
she
bad,
wrote
Sarah.
down.
It's too bad because I'm not necessarily against the idea. I was just kind of asking you some of the tough questions that are going to come up from people that support the self-driving cars. Thank you for the call tonight. If you don't want to have a conversation, we're just going to let you go because having a conversation means when you get on the air with us, you can bring up the thing you want to talk about. But we might have questions for you about that thing, and when somebody's interested in what you're saying, they ask you questions.
Right.
This is how you can tell if somebody's actually interested in what you're saying, because if they're not interested in what you're saying, they'll do what one of the politicians does up here, and they'll go, as you're talking, you might be saying something.
Right.
So that's called patronizing that person and acting like, nodding your
Yep.
oh yeah,
Okay.
No, they're not actually listening to you. They're just waiting for you to stop talking so they can just start talking about whatever it is that they wanted to talk about. So when the person you're talking to is asking you questions, that means that they are listening to you. They may not understand
They're
fully.
trying to engage you.
Right. They may not understand fully what it is you said to them, so they may be asking you a question to clarify what you just said, or maybe asking a question to take you on to a different topic or a related topic or whatever. But if you can't answer the questions, it's not a real conversation, so we're just going to move on.
Or if you have no interest in answering the questions, which is generally what it is with Sarah.
Right. Because the idea that bus drivers should be targeted because they are causing accidents, I don't believe it. These are professional drivers, whether they be bus drivers or truck drivers or whatever it is. These are people who drive for a living, and they drive for a living because they're better at it than most people generally.
Right, and then throw taxi drivers in with that professional driver.
Right.
Because if you're a taxi driver and you run over a pedestrian,
you're fired.
Guess who's not having a job tomorrow?
You're fired. And then, try to get another job after having run over a pedestrian and, they call your previous employer.
Once you get fired from a job that requires DOT certifications, you can never get a job that requires DOT certifications.
Do you have to be certified to be a taxi driver? Because you sure as hell don't be an Uber driver in most places.
Taxi may or may not require some kind of
whereas a
commercial
trucker, a trucker or a bus driver probably has a CDL, commercial driver's license. You don't have to have that for
when I worked
taxis.
For an airline, we had some level of DOT stuff, even though didn't have to have a CDL, but we did have DOT somethings. And there was one of the guys that I worked with. I forget exactly what he did, but he had to go take a drug test, and he knew he was going to fail the drug test. So after he took the drug test, but before the results came in, he gave in his notice and said, "Yeah, I quit effective now," because he knew that if he got fired, he could not get another airline job.
Interesting. Let's continue. Vernon is on the line listening in New Orleans. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Vernon.
Have y'all ever thought about having public domain theme music for your chronic callers? I just think that would really add to their crazy calls, especially with Ralph or Sarah or James Guy from Arizona. I mean, I could see some really good theme music, and even public domain.
So you're saying when Sarah calls in to just fade up some kooky, like some kooky sounding theme music?
Yeah, like a circus, and then whenever James from Arizona calls, you could play some really some evil music, and then whenever you have
that's cute.
That guy from the prison call, I don't even know,
that would be a great idea for a show that actually had like a producer and somebody who could think about stuff like that during the show. Hey, thanks Vernon for the call tonight. I appreciate it. This is like one of the least well-produced shows in the talk radio business, and I'm always blown away.
You're not supposed to pull back the curtain.
Yeah, and I'm always blown away when program directors are like, "Your show sounded well-produced, sounded good," or whatever. Like,
it does sound good.
All right, thanks for the compliment. We really just throw it up against a wall and see if it sticks. It's Free Talk Live.
This November, I'm running the New York City Marathon as a member of Team Innocence Project because I'm a passionate supporter of their work. 2018 has been a banner year for the Innocence Project. Since January, 9 of their clients have walked free. Innocent people who combined to serve more than 200 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. And because of the Innocence Project, the risk of being wrongfully convicted has been greatly reduced for millions of people. October 2nd is International Wrongful Conviction Day. It's an opportunity to draw attention to the countless innocent men and women who remain behind bars and the need to reform our broken criminal justice system to prevent wrongful convictions. At any given time, the Innocence Project represents 200 clients who need their help to prove their innocence. This year, the Innocence Project helped pass a first-in-the-nation prosecutorial oversight law in New York and eyewitness identification reforms in New Hampshire and Louisiana. You can help the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free, take control of the airwaves, and bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also, of course, got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms, which are wide open and available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. Coming up in October, we are 1 month away from this now, October 27th and 28th in
beautiful Austin, Texas. It's the 4th Texas Bitcoin Conference. The Texas Bitcoin Conference is a great event for networking, innovation, and entertainment. I had a lot of fun there last year. It's a good crew, and it's a solid event that's been around now for a few years. This is the 4th one, so you can join Paul Snow of Factum, Bruce Fenton of Ravencoin, Professor John M. Griffin, and more. Go to TexasBitcoinConference.com. and you can get your tickets. Mark and I will be broadcasting Free Talk Live from the event, and as we did on every previous year. So we have the pleasure of being, I think, the only show that's been at the Texas Bitcoin Conference every single year since it started. I think Crypto Show's also been there most of the 4 years as well. TexasBitcoinConference.com. We will look forward to seeing you there October 27th and 28th in Austin. Daryl, we're going through the list of recommendations from Edward Snowden.
Yes.
And, of course, this is not by no means an exhaustive list of privacy options, but these are some of the best ones that are out there.
These are the ones that, according to this particular website, thequent.com, these are the 6 things that are Edward Snowden approved.
Correct. And we started with, let's see, it was Signal which is
Tor,
which Signal replaces your basic text messaging app. And by the way, it's slightly different on Android versus iPhone. I didn't know this about iPhone, but on Android with Signal, you can say when you install Signal, I think it will ask you at some point,
do you want this to be your default messenger?
Correct. That is not an option on iPhone, sadly.
Boo.
Yeah. So you can still have it on iPhone. It's just that it's just an additional messaging app there. It's not used as your default one for all your text messaging.
Yeah, that's one thing that I really like about Signal for Android is that it is my default text messaging app.
Right.
So it's not like,
it's always there.
Additional
and
app
it's better
that I
than
have.
your typical default text messaging app anyway. And if somebody else has Signal, you're automatically going to know it because there's the little lock icon that shows you that. So then it was Tor.
Signal, Tor. Next on the list,
Tor to protect all of your web browsing from snooping by, say, governments trying to contact your ISP.
And they say, speaking of Tor, use Tails. Tails is an operating system that Edward Snowden recommends.
That's Tails. Your accent's pretty heavy, so it almost sounds like you're saying Tells.
Tails.
Yeah, Tails.
It's an acronym that stands for the Amnesic Incognito Live System.
Is it amnesiac or amnesic? I don't.
AMNESIC.
Oh, amnesic. Yeah. Okay.
The name says it all. Literally, the idea behind this is that it works from a live USB and leaves no digital footprint on the machine you plug it into.
Right. So let's explain what that means. The entire operating system is small enough to fit on a USB flash drive of a relatively small size. I think all you need is like 4 to 8 gigabytes, and you've got enough room for this thing. And you don't need any room, much more room beyond that, because it's basically a temporary operating system that when you plug it into a computer, you turn the computer on, you have to know how to boot from a USB drive, which usually, on PC, it's like you press F8 and then you can. It depends on the motherboard that's in the computer, but there's usually some option you can press at the beginning of the boot sequence to allow it to instruct the computer to boot from the USB drive, and then it loads up this Tails, which is a Linux system that's basically been designed to be privacy maximizing. Nothing that you do in Tails sticks. So the next time you plug that drive into a different computer, it's like you're starting over from scratch.
Right.
There's nothing there.
My understanding is this is what's called sandboxed.
Yeah.
To where everything that happens...
It's temporary.
Just happens temporarily. Right. You unplug it, and then there's no record of anything. Right. Whereas in computer gaming, sandbox means something completely different.
So with Tails, it's got like all the basics, right? Like it's got Tor browser, which we talked about earlier. It's got the LibreOffice. So if you need to do some Office stuff in there, you've got that built in. So it comes with certain things that are sort of like the basic bare bones Linux GUI operating system.
So what they mention here is internet browsing, use encryption tools for files, emails, and other usage. So apparently there's some kind of way that you can send and receive emails through here as well.
Yeah, I've never explored that aspect of it, but it wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know if they're talking about, using some kind of browser interface to do the email, or if there's an email program.
Yeah. Email by itself, though, is not a particularly secure method, so you have to keep that in mind. If you want to secure your emails, you need to use some sort of email online system that is secure, like LavaBit used to be. I don't know. I know they launched a new thing. I don't know what it's called. Maybe it's still called LavaBit. But, there's different email providers out there that are focused on privacy. I've heard good things about Proton Mail, but I don't know anything about it, so I can't recommend any of these.
Right.
Of course, you can also use any email provider that you have and just use PGP, which Snowden may mention later on in this list.
Actually, not on this list.
Okay. So, but Tails for temporary computing, you can take that Tails USB drive to any computer.
Right.
And so if you're in let's say a public library and you want to do, some browsing but not have it left on the browser of that public library, if you have the ability to put a USB drive in that computer and reboot it, then you can load up your own operating system.
I don't know how many public library computers allow you to boot from a USB drive.
Well, if it's a computer, then it should have that option. Most Windows-based, Linux-based, PC computers, they don't have a way to generally disable that. So whether you can shut it down easily or not is another question, but it should be done. I mean, it should be doable.
In theory.
Any computer that has a USB port on it should be able to do this if you know what the key press is that you have to press at the very beginning. It may not be obvious, but there's usually some way to do it. Anyway, very handy.
They do mention that it can be complicated.
Correct. Yeah, Tails is a little more advanced. We're talking about more of an advanced system. Right. You have to follow a tutorial as to how to install Tails. So you have to download this thing, and then you have to provide the flash drive, and there's like an installer program that you have to use if you're on Windows or if you're on Linux. So there's a different process for everybody.
Next on the list is HTTPS Everywhere.
That's a good browser plugin.
Yes, it's a browser plugin. They mention Chrome, but I don't know if it's still available on Chrome because I had heard that Chrome is doing away with certain plugins. But again, this article about a year old, they mention it can be easily a browser extension. So not a plugin. Plugins and extensions are slightly different things.
Okay.
In certain browsers, but they do mention...
I thought it was just a different name for the same thing in different browsers, but okay.
My understanding is they operate slightly different, but they mention here Chrome, Firefox, and Opera. In simple terms, they say HTTPS allows your communications over a network through a secure channel. It's just an added layer of security over Hypertext Transfer Protocol, or HTTP.
Many websites.
So if a website supports it, the extension will automatically make the website HTTPS.
Many websites are moving to HTTPS, which is the secure version of HTTP, and that basically means that your internet service provider cannot snoop on the data that you're putting into the website field. That's basically what that means.
Right.
So if you're filling out a form or something.
Yep. Two more on the list.
It's Free Talk Live.
Bacon lovers, we ship free. Try our amazing bacon. No refrigeration required. Proprietary value-added packaging provides 10 years shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest, center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Savory and delicious. Wholesale price for your everyday use. Order today at ReadyToEatBacon.com. ReadyToEatBacon.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
If you're looking for work, or even if you're not, here's an innocent mistake you really want to avoid. Never return calls before listening to your voicemail. Your wireless phone sends calls you didn't answer into voicemail, and it shows you phone numbers for calls you missed. Important, don't call back callers you missed until you have first listened to your messages. Otherwise, you frustrate people who bothered to leave messages by asking them to repeat a message they just left as your voicemail greeting instructed them to. If you're a job applicant, this alone could be a deal killer. And even if you're not, there are few things you can convey to someone that are as fundamentally maddening as, "I didn't hear you." With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free here. Take control of the airwaves and bring up whatever's on your mind. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Daryl.
We are talking about privacy, security options that Edward Snowden has recommended. And it's one of those topics that we do, revisit from time to time when privacy shows up in the news. In this case, it was about FISA courts authorizing secret surveillance against journalists, United States-based journalists. And that led to a discussion of, well, if you're a journalist, maybe you ought to be taking some steps to make sure that your conversations with your, informants and the people you're just interviewing are kept secret from these federal snoops.
And depending on where you're located, you might need to keep the information that you're sending back to the media outlet secure. So sometimes, they'll have, say, American or British journalist in an Eastern European country that doesn't necessarily have quote-unquote free speech protections.
Correct. The more you can protect yourself, better off you're going to be. There's no perfect system.
Right.
There's no perfect security, but if you have some protections in, you're better off than none. So we'll continue with that list here, and also we'll get to your comments. If you want to share them, you can dial in toll-free at 855-450-FREE. And then speaking of security, there's news in the New York Times about Facebook being breached by hackers, putting up to 50 million users' data at risk. But I also want to let you know about home security, because it's one thing to protect your communications, another thing to protect your property and your family. And the Blink Motion Activated HD Camera wireless system can help you do that. Wireless cameras, they're super affordable, by the way. You purchase the Blink package from blinkprotect.com/FTL, get 15% off. And then you unbox it, you put the batteries in, which are included, and then you put the cameras up around your home wherever you want to put them. They're wireless, so you don't have to draw a bunch of wires through walls and hire professional installers or whatever it is you'd have to do to get a typical security system installed. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. So get your 15% off the already shockingly affordable Blink Protect system. Go to blinkprotect.com/FTL to get that discount. blinkprotect.com/FTL. And Blink is an Amazon company. As we continue here, we're by the way, there's a comment in the Twitch chat room. You can watch us on Twitch, by the way. We do have a video feed there in HD quality over at Twitch, presuming I turned it on today, and I did. Good. The Twitch chat room, we got Big Woody Sauce, who says, why not Gab? Is Mastodon better? He's asking from the last segment when we were talking about the social media that Free Talk Live is present on. So we have updates going out on Telegram, we have them going out on Twitter, and we have them going out on the new decentralized Mastodon system. And he asks about Gab. Have you heard of this Gab? Do you know what it is?
I've heard of it, and all I know of it, and maybe I'm misinformed, but all I know of it is a bunch of white nationalists went there when Twitter said you can't be a white nationalist on Twitter.
Basically,
that's fine. We'll start our own Twitter with white nationalists.
Well, I don't know if it was started by white nationalists. I'm not clear on that, but it was definitely started in response to the Twitter kind of takedowns and all that. And so, yes, you're right. A bunch of right-wing people went over there and sort of made it their version of Twitter.
Right.
The reason why not Gab is because, we're
not white nationalists.
Well, not everybody there is a white nationalist. There's other people there too. But, the reason why not is because it's a centralized system. And the problem with Twitter, beyond their policies, is that their policies are easily implemented because it's a centralized system. And so why move from one walled garden into another walled garden when you can move in from the walled garden of Twitter into...
Because the flowers are prettier or something.
Well, no. You can have flowers outside of a walled garden. There's just no walls in that garden. And that's why you want to go decentralized with Mastodon, because Mastodon is a decentralized option, meaning that there can be multiple, and there are multiple Mastodon servers. They federate with each other, meaning that they can connect to the other Mastodon, so you can still find people on other servers as long as the server hasn't been disconnected for some reason. So if the white nationalists started their own Mastodon server, no one could stop them from doing that, but what they could do is disfederate from that server and make it so that they're sort of on their own little island out there where people who want to go to that island can go there, but they're not reachable necessarily from the other islands, so to speak. And so that's why Mastodon is the next step as far as social media is concerned, because you're decentralizing power. Now, the people who are running the Liberdon server that we're on, I don't know who they are. Could be the NSA for all I know, but somebody claiming to be a libertarian started this Liberdon, which is a Mastodon instance, where libertarians have been invited to show up, and that's where we created the account for Free Talk Live. If for whatever reason they got a hair up their butt and decided to, throw us off the server, they could do that. But then again, there's nothing to stop us from starting our own server and so on and so forth.
Right.
So that's a step in the right direction. And I actually have news about Twitter here tonight that we can get to. Apparently, they are going to be cracking down on yet another form of expression that they've decided they don't want on their system. And we can tell you more about that and those rules coming up here in a moment. But we've got a couple more things on the list here of Edward Snowden approved security
privacy tools. Secure Drop. They say if you're a journalist or an Edward Snowden-inspired whistleblower, then this tool is what you've been looking for. It's a platform that securely facilitates communication over the Tor network. Secure Drop sites are only accessible via Tor.
Okay.
So this isn't something you can just pull up on Chrome.
Got it.
And then finally, they mentioned...
I don't know what that is, though, so it doesn't really explain what it does. Is it an upload system? I'll have to look into that, because that's one of the 5 here that I've not actually heard of previously.
I'll read again. It says, platform that securely facilitates communication over Tor.
Okay, so that could mean it could mean anything.
Could mean a lot of things.
I'll look into that.
And finally, ad blocker. They say, we're not kidding. But take heart, because if you don't see yourself using any of these tools, Snowden's got one more suggestion. Use an ad blocker. And we know most of you use one of them. Service providers who present ads with active content require JavaScript for them to display and need something like Flash embedded in it. And these can be used to attack your web browser. An ad blocker actively stops all of these. So less spending and greater security, 2 birds, 1 stone. Now, all of these tools are for the users that are really looking for some seriously secure communication online, but fair warning, none of these are entirely foolproof. Even with these tools, there's still a chance of your security being breached by a hacker who knows what they're doing.
Right.
So if you regularly send sensitive information over the interwebs, maybe it's time to rethink how secure you think your communications actually are.
Okay, so I'm looking at SecureDrop here. It's actually run by the Freedom of the Press Foundation.
Nice.
So their website is securedrop.org. Share and accept documents securely. So it's about sharing, a document, right? Like something you've extracted from the federal government.
So like a secure version of Dropbox?
You could probably look at it that way, but it's not going to be like Dropbox in that it's synced across multiple computers, because by default that's not secure. So it's just a way of delivering a document securely to...
I'm just trying to compare it to something that people have probably used.
But you don't want to compare it exactly, because it's not...
That's why I said a secure version of...
Dropbox is... inherently is not secure because it's available on multiple devices. This is a way to connect with news organizations. So the Associated Press, The Guardian, The Intercept, Forbes, these are listed on the front page of the website as organizations who are running this software already. And so you can use this SecureDrop. It's a website that connects you to these organizations to where you can upload a document to them. Because if you send an email, that's not secure.
Right.
And the average person, I think PGP is sort of out of their grasp. That's why it wasn't on this list, I suspect, of the 6 things that Snowden recommends.
Well, and PGP is something more than just a tool. Where all of these other, here's an app you can download. Here's... a program that you can use. Here's a website. PGP is much more than that.
Well, I mean, there are apps that allow you to use PGP, but it's more than that because there's more steps involved, and it can be a bit complicated. So the SecureDrop is a way of sending a file without having to do PGP encryption. More coming up.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
Zencash is now Horizon, and Free Talk Live is giving away some Zen. I have selected a number between 1 and 999 to enter. Send an email with your transparent Zen address to Daryl@freetalklive.com. The subject line must be a number between 1 and 999. The person closest to the number will receive 1.75 Zen. Again, to enter, send an email with your Zen address to Daryl@freetalklive.com. Subject line being a number between 1 and 999.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original and most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
Healthcare reform is confusing, but whether it's finding an affordable insurance plan, keeping your doctor, or being able to afford needed prescriptions, navigating the healthcare system has become a challenge. Control your own healthcare costs and choices with Liberty HealthShare. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It is an association of self-pay patients who unite with like-minded people to share the cost of each other's medical needs. Neighbor helping neighbor. Learn more now by going to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Free Talk Live.
For me, it's fighting negativity, and the negativity is my thoughts in my head that are negative. And I had to learn to recognize when my thoughts were being negative, because most of my life, most of my thoughts were negative. So I had to become aware of when they were happening. And when I become aware of these negative thoughts pervading my thinking, I immediately fight them with positive thoughts. And most of the positive thoughts that I feed myself are positive affirmations about who I am, where I'm going, where I've come from.
Whenever I find myself thinking negatively, I don't consider it fighting the negative thoughts. I just consider it changing my train of thought. I just kind of change tracks to a positive thought and just focus on that.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial on in here. Toll free. Join us on the radio. The number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Also, the Discord on-air call-in line rooms are open and available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. And I did mention the Discord servers earlier. I do want to tell you a little bit more about it. It is our chat room. Chat rooms, several rooms actually, different topics can be discussed. There are rooms specific to certain topics like cryptocurrency and gaming. Then there's just kind of more like fun areas. There's one for music, movies, and pop culture discussion, memes, not safe for work. So we got all kinds of different rooms there for you to check out. And of course, during the live show, people are in the Free Talk Live chat room. And then if you want to call in, we got on-air call-in line rooms just for you. And because Discord, in addition to a chat-based or text-based chat service, also offers voice rooms. So sometimes after the show, we'll see listeners jump into the casual chat voice room to have conversations with one another, voice style. So it's all free. Head on over to discord.lrn.fm to get started. That's discord.lrn.fm. It's Ian and Daryl in the studio here tonight. Daryl, you just pulled up an article, and I didn't know if you intended to share it on the air, but
yeah, I definitely want to share part of this.
Because we talked briefly about PGP a moment ago, and I said the reason why it probably wasn't included on the list of 6 things from Edward Snowden as far as recommended tools for privacy is it's just a little bit above, I would say, the average computer user's technical abilities.
Right, and fairly lengthy article from Wired, so I'm not going to try reading the entire thing. But skimming through here, they have some...
The article's about how they're claiming that PGP's dead?
They're saying it's dead. Mm-hmm. They have quotes from a cryptographer... Which I find shocking. And professor at Johns Hopkins University. Last name is Green. I forget where I saw the first name. Matthew Green. He says that it's time for PGP to die. He goes on to say it's a real pain. There's key management. You have to use it in an existing email client. Then you have to download keys. And then there's the whole third issue of making sure that you're using the right keys. He says all of these things have been really hard for non-experts and even for some experts. When Edward Snowden tried reaching out anonymously to a friend of Laura Poitras, she was the documentarian. Micah Lee says that Snowden reached out through this friend anonymously asking for Poitras's PGP key. Snowden forgot to attach his own public PGP key, meaning that the friend had no way of securely responding. Continuing
Correct, but you could respond insecurely and say, "Hey, dude, you didn't send your public key. Send it to me."
And that's probably what happened.
Yeah,
They're just saying that
it's a mistake, but it's not a critical error.
They're just saying that even for the experts, they can goof it up.
No doubt.
Occasionally.
No doubt.
They say there's no standard way of implementing PGP.
Nope, that's true. It's different for different operating systems.
So a number of people just do it wrong, and then it becomes the weakest link in the chain. It doesn't matter how strong the PGP is. If anybody can unlock it, then it's essentially worthless.
Right. Yeah. The shortcuts for PGP, and there are a few of them out there, lessen the security of PGP. So you really have to, if you're going to get into PGP, which stands for Pretty Good Privacy, and it's been around for a few decades, to at least 2 decades, if not a little more than that. If you're going to use PGP, you need to go through a tutorial. I mean, it's really one of those things where there is a learning curve. It's not something that we can just say, "Oh, we'll just download this program," and then, there you go. The first thing you need to do is learn exactly the concepts behind PGP, the encryption concepts of private and public keys, which I'm not going to bother to try to explain here because there are tutorials on the internet that do a good job of making this understandable. Then once you can understand how it works, then you can go through the tutorial steps of implementation, of downloading the right programs that you need to encrypt your texts with, or your emails with, and you can encrypt files with PGP too, by the way. So not only can you encrypt text for an email recipient, you could also, if you had to include a file or something, you could do that too. Which is why this secure drop is so useful, because they basically created a way to upload documents to major media organizations, or maybe some smaller ones as well, but New York Times was in there, and The Intercept, Washington Post had that. Make it so you can upload documents by just simply using the Tor browser and going to a website, and then there's a little bit of an information exchange, but it's probably a lot simpler than learning and setting up and going through the PGP process.
Wired mentions,
but it ain't dead. Hold on, before you go on, I'm gonna just call this and say that it's not dead, because if you go on like darknet marketplaces, that's the standard.
Right.
So when you're communicating with people on darknet marketplaces, they don't want to talk to you unless you're using PGP. So it's still out there and it's still used. And there's a reason for that.
It's still used.
There's a reason, because it's still good.
But not by a lot of people.
No, of course not.
According to Wired, there are around 50,000 non-expired public PGP keys.
That's only the ones that are registered with a service that allows you to register your key. So I forget what it's called, but there's like these directories of public PGP keys where the people who have a public key who would like to be listed as having a public key can upload that key to these directories. And there's one of them that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's more than one. So they're looking at these directories and they're saying, oh, well, there's only this many keys on the directory. You can go right now, Daryl, and generate a public and private key pair, and no one would know about it. In the same way that when you create a new crypto wallet, nobody knows that you've created the cryptocurrency wallet. Same thing's true with PGP. And both of those systems are based on public and private key pairs.
They say here, by contrast, in 2016, there were nearly 50 million global downloads of Telegram. On Twitter, links
to... But that's not a privacy tool. I mean, Telegram is a great chat app, but it's not a PGP competitor.
Here, they mention it as an encrypted messaging app.
Well, okay. Sort of. So Telegram is partially encrypted from the last I heard about it. Now, by no means have I been following every Telegram update on their encryption status, but its encryption quality has always been in question. And it does use a centralized server for storing messages and for storing data that's uploaded. So there's always been kind of a question surrounding the, how solid of a system that is. And certainly in any kind of non-direct two-way communication, then you're dealing with a group which is inherently insecure. So group chats... Forget about that being secure at all over Telegram. One-on-one, yes, there is a more secure method, and it's definitely going to be better than sending a text message, but it's not in the same category at all as PGP. at all.
They say here
because there's no centralized server with PGP.
On Twitter, links to PGP keys in the bios of journalists are being replaced by Signal telephone numbers.
Interesting.
And they then mention Apple's iMessage and WhatsApp that have turned on end-to-end encryption
Don't buy
for
that.
more than 1 billion people.
I don't buy it.
I'm not saying that it's necessarily secure. I'm reading the article here where they say that
remember,
there's
WhatsApp's
some level
owned
of
by who?
Facebook.
Yeah.
Which allegedly has some form of the Signal protocol in.
I don't believe it.
Well, somebody was pointing out their stuff.
Somebody was pointing out to me earlier that with Facebook claiming to have end-to-end encryption, that may be true, but it doesn't mean that they don't have the keys to the end-to-end encryption, because somebody had reported one of the chats that they were having over Facebook, and Facebook said they could review the chat. Well, if Facebook can review the chat, then that means Facebook has the keys. So it doesn't matter if it's end-to-end encrypted if the middleman has the keys to your end-to-end encrypted chat. So you can't trust these people at all. Which is why, Signal's better because it actually is open source. You could go in and audit, if you were a programmer, the code of Signal, purportedly, as long as again, there's other details of if you're editing the code, but does that mean it's the same code that was used in the actual compiled version of the software that's downloadable through the Google App Store? Because if they changed, so here's the open source code, but then we put a backdoor in it before we go ahead and compile it and make it into an actual runnable program. There are ways to kind of, from what I understand, decompile and or hash check the program to make sure that it matches the original code. But again, the average user isn't going to be doing those things, and so to some extent, you just have to trust them.
Right. And this entire article,
which if you have to trust somebody you don't know, you're not secure.
I will post the link on the telegrams and the whatnots, but this entire article was sort of spurred because of the publication of something called eFail that allowed certain email clients to sort of break PGP.
I would say the announcements of PGP being dead are premature at best. However, certainly I understand why people would replace a PGP link with a Signal phone link. It's just easier, and of course, ease of use tends to negate your security setup. More coming up.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied, but you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, September 28th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.46 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,185 per ounce. Zen is trading at $17, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,609. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. spends far more on its military than any other nation on Earth, but very soon it will not be the top expenditure of the U.S. government budget. Rather, rising interest rates and years of mounting debt mean that soon interest on the debt will overtake it. Interest costs will be $390 billion next year and more than $900 billion within a decade, according to the Congressional Budget Office. At present, U.S. military budgets are in the $700 billion range and themselves constantly growing. Somewhere, these two growing lines will intersect, and the runaway military spending is a big reason why. There's simply no way for the U.S. to keep pouring substantial portions of $1 trillion down the well annually for the military without borrowing, and that debt is just growing. The U.S. debt is huge, and that is in no small part because of decades of runaway military spending and trillions dumped into nuclear weapons. Lawmakers largely are not interested in this matter right now, likely reflecting their unwillingness to cut military spending to try to get the debt back in line. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports as many as 59 people were arrested during protest outside a hearing on Christine Blasey Ford's sexual assault allegation against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh on Thursday, according to the U.S. Capitol Police. Capitol Police confirmed 57 people were arrested near the Supreme Court building and charged with crowding, obstructing, or incommoding, and 2 others were arrested for crossing a police line. The Women's March organization's Twitter account shared photos and video of women being arrested. Thousands rallied across the nation, including many on Capitol Hill on Thursday, in solidarity with the university professor who accused Kavanaugh of sexually assaulting her at a high school party in 1982. Kavanaugh has repeatedly denied the allegations. The Women's March held a #CancelKavanaugh event in Washington, D.C. to support Ford as she testified. Protesters rallied at the Capitol Reflecting Pool between 12:30 and 2:30 p.m. A website for the event said if Kavanaugh is confirmed to the Supreme Court, he will not just send a message that sexual violence is rewarded with power, he will also roll back rights that women have worked for a generation to secure. There have been more than 150 arrests in Washington, D.C. this week, according to USA Today. Hundreds of protesters showed up at the Senate office building during Ford's hearing, some wearing black tape on their mouths with words written on the tape that read, "Believe Women." Kavanaugh supporters also demonstrated in Washington, including students from Liberty University. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports U.S. authorities said on Thursday they were mailing more than $505 million of refund checks to nearly 1.18 million people who were victimized in a massive payday lending scheme run by former race car driver and convicted racketeer Scott Tucker. The payout, announced by the Federal Trade Commission, which is working with the Department of Justice, stemmed from a $1.27 billion civil judgment that the FTC won in September 2016 against Tucker and some of his companies. The money will go to consumers who obtained loans from 7 portfolios once serviced by AMG, run by Tucker. Tucker is appealing his October 2017 conviction on racketeering and other charges and his 16-year, 8-month prison sentence. His case arose from a federal crackdown on people who exploit cash-strapped consumers by charging exorbitant interest rates and fees on short-term loans, some of which could tide over borrowers from paycheck to paycheck. Prosecutors said Tucker's companies routinely charged interest rates as high as 700% and took advantage of more than 4 million consumers from 1997 to 2013. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A man thanks God he's not sexually attracted to children, and Popeye's home is burglarized. Week in and week out, you come back like a housebroken Pomeranian, loyal to the bitter end. Good boy. This is the Onion Week in Review. Georgia's Cobb County Evangelical Hospital held its 5th annual Walk to Cure Gayness today, reportedly drawing thousands of participants to raise funds that would cure sufferers of their homosexuality and make gayness a thing of the past. Hospital administrators told reporters that funding from the walk would go into providing new state-of-the-art gayness treatment equipment, along with remodeling the hospital's physical therapy center, which has spent nearly 14 years reteaching gay men how to walk properly.
Oh God, I was a goner. But as you can see, I'm now happily married to a woman, and as of next month, I will have been in full remission for 2 whole years. I'm just so very, very happy. Everything's really good in my life.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want here. Take control of the airwaves. Our number for you is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And also the Discord on-air call-in line rooms are open and available to you. You can get into one of those rooms, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. It's Ian here.
And Daryl.
We talked in the last hour quite a bit about privacy tools per Edward Snowden's recommendation, how to protect yourself online. And we also covered briefly some of the these social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook and how they have been targeting people with opinions that they don't like, and how being in a centralized system like a Twitter puts you at risk of that, of being censored. It puts you at risk of being removed. It puts you at risk of being put in the little Facebook jail that they put people in from time to time. Oh, you've been banned for 30 days. And there's news about Twitter now from AFP reporting that Twitter has reached out this week to users for help in crafting a ban on comments that dehumanize people and set the stage for real-world violence. A policy change that Twitter's been working on for several months is intended to broaden their hateful content restrictions at the service to include barring tweets dehumanizing people based on race, religion, sexual orientation, or other social grouping. Vijaya Gade and Del Harvey of the Twitter Trust and Safety team said in a blog post, quote, "Language that makes someone less than human can have repercussions off the service, including normalizing serious violence."
So it sounds to me they're going to ban war propaganda?
Yeah, right.
Because war propaganda is generally, making some group on the other side of the
like
world,
the Japs,
be less than human.
Yeah.
So that when we killed tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of them, we didn't kill people.
Yeah, I guarantee you they're not going to be banning the U.S. military's accounts from Twitter. Right? These are going to be targeted at people that are politically unpopular, and there's a lot of people that just. The military can do anything and get away with anything, and that's not going to be in question. It should be. So I'm glad you brought that up, but it's from Twitter's perspective. That's not even on the table.
So from Twitter's perspective, it's just going to be white nationalist.
No. They've targeted other people who aren't white nationalists. I mean, they've targeted Alex Jones, as a matter of fact. He's more of like a conspiracy kind of guy.
He's some kind of a nationalist.
Well, he may be a nationalist, but there's plenty of Democrats who are nationalists as well,
True.
and they aren't being targeted. In fact, there is evidence that Twitter will target a right-winger, whether or not they're a white nationalist right-winger, but they're more likely to target a right-winger for a retribution for something they've said than target a left-winger on Twitter. And look, I don't care what Twitter's rules are. I think that they can run their service however it is they want to. If they want to make it a total lefty outlet, then that's fine. It's their private property. They can do whatever they want with it. If you don't like it, leave their service.
Right.
Go somewhere else. The right-winger white nationalists like Chris Cantwell have been actually advocating that the government get involved in Twitter and force Twitter to run their service in a way that's supposedly fair, basically nationalizing it, basically turning it into a government system And it's insane, but that's what some of them are calling for.
Yeah.
So language, they say, that makes someone less than human. Okay, well, I'm already disagreeing here, right? Because the old saying from preschool, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Apparently, they forgot that over at Twitter because they believe language can make you less than human. So if I say something mean and insensitive to you, Daryl, well, now all of a sudden you're no longer human because I said it? It's ridiculous.
Well, I'm kind of going to play devil's advocate here for just a moment. If enough people wind up saying, fill in the blank group are not humans, we should commit violence against them. And then a group of people go out and start committing violence against that group because, well, they're not human, then,
Well, violence is different than saying things, right? So we're talking about people saying things, and Twitter's
and
using
generally
that.
People that are going to say that fill in the blank group are subhuman are also advocating violence against that group.
I don't know if that's generally true at all. It could simply be that somebody is insulting another person on the internet and wants to pick out something about them that they don't like, whether it be their weight or how pretty or not they are or where they were born.
That's
the color
not saying
of their
that
skin.
person is less than human and not deserving of rights.
Well, you know that it's not going to just be, I don't think this person's a human. They're talking about dehumanizing comments, which is a broad category of saying things that are insulting and mean to somebody else. Now, they're not going to give a laundry list of examples here of what it is that they will consider to be a dehumanizing comment. But it won't just have to be, so-and-so's not a human. Well, obviously, that's a very obvious, clear use of dehumanization, but it's not what they're going to be talking
I'm using,
about.
the actual definition of dehumanizing, and you're saying that they're going to wind up interpreting it very broadly. And as you mentioned, they don't have a list because, even the...
We'll know it when we see it.
Right. Even the U.S. Supreme Court, they don't know what obscenity is, so they can't actually define obscenity. The FCC can't say, here are things that you definitely can't do. They're just like, we know it when we see or hear it.
Yeah, I wish I could. I wish they did give some examples, but they're not. So they're saying here, they quote, want to expand our hateful conduct policy, which I'm sure you could pull that up and see how already general their hateful conduct policy is. Now they want to expand it to include content that dehumanizes others based on their membership in an identifiable group. So it could simply be, somebody saying, I think all blah, blah, blah are scum. I think all, politicians are liars or, or ugly or, it doesn't necessarily, I don't think it's going to be the straight up call for violence because they already have that, right? They've got prohibitions on calls for violence already. In fact, they point that out here. Twitter policy already bans comments that promote violence or threats based on discrimination, but abusive tweets that do not break the company's rules are still fired. This is not a sentence. Are still fired of at the service. I don't know what they're trying to say there. Abusive tweets that do not break the company's rules are still... They're not excluded yet, but they're going to be excluding those things. In an unusual step, Twitter asked for feedback from users around the world regarding wording to be used in the policy amendment. So, it would have been bad enough if it were just the Twitter board of directors or whoever it is that makes these policy determinations coming up with this language. Now they're just leaving it open to Twitter users to come in and say what they want to be banned. It's open season. Well, it's open season on anything that anybody considers to be offensive on Twitter.
No, there's also the thing on Facebook to where you can click, report this content.
Right. Well, now that what they're talking about is having those people who are likely to report content go ahead and say the things they don't want to see at all on the service, and they're going to craft their policy based on the input from the most sensitive, SJW wimpy kind of people that they're gonna be the ones who comment here. They're gonna be the ones saying, we need a safe space. Twitter, it's just too dangerous out here with all these people saying things that I don't like.
The uber conservatives, they need safe spaces too because they get upset about Starbucks coffee cups every year.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying
they're just as big of a snowflake as the people that they call snowflakes.
Oh, I'm with you. I totally agree with that. But they're not going to be the ones who are crafting this policy. It's going to be the people who Twitter is pandering to, who are going to be the ones that are most likely to put input into these things. And either way, even if it is a bunch of whiny conservatives who come in there, it's still going to result in a worse, less freedom, kind of policy on Twitter. According to the story here, the Twitter people said, "We want your feedback to ensure we consider global perspectives and how this policy may impact different communities and cultures." Twitter chief and co-founder Jack Dorsey told U.S. lawmakers that the San Francisco-based service was, quote, unprepared and ill-equipped, unquote, for the vast campaigns of manipulation that affected social media in the past few years. We can continue here in moments. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And coming up, Facebook apparently has been hacked. We'll give you the story. It's Free Talk Live.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening in your home anytime, anywhere. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free. Take control of the airwaves here. Bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And there's our Discord on-air call-in line rooms available and open to you right now over at discord.lrn.fm. We're talking about the social networking sites. Twitter is now talking about expanding their existing restrictions on content, broadening their so-called hateful content restrictions to include what they call dehumanizing comments. And they're asking for input from their users to help them understand exactly what kind of dehumanizing comments should be prohibited from the service. So, of course, you know, when you ask a bunch of people who feel upset when somebody says something they don't like, that they're going to come up with all kinds of, terrible examples of how this policy should be expanded. So if you thought Twitter was bad already with restricting people's accounts and banning people, after this, it's going to get even worse. And so, again, my solution here is get off of the platforms, or at the very least, start migrating off. So with Free Talk Live, we started an account on Mastodon, which you can go to toot.freetalklive.com to pull that up. And that has the exact same content as the Free Talk Live Twitter account does. It's just that if Twitter shuts us down, we're going to have to be somewhere else, and so that's why we're building up the Mastodon as a decentralized alternative to Twitter. And that's, as I explained earlier, why we didn't go to some other centralized service, such as Gab, as somebody in our chat room on Twitch was suggesting, because the fewer people that have the ability to control the things that you say on the internet, the better. So we can continue here. You're welcome to comment. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And speaking of decentralization, Zencash is now known as Horizon. They did a rebrand recently within the last month or so, and that's because Zencash, now known as Horizon, is much bigger than just cryptocurrency. It's a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology. That's excellent privacy tech. And they've got a decentralized secure node architecture, which the last time I looked, they had 16,000 or so secure nodes, super nodes in their system. And that is more than the Bitcoin network has. The Bitcoin network has about 11 or 10,000 full nodes. And so there's way more in the Zencash system. They've got some great security there as a result. And it's very decentralized. Because, again, the more nodes you have in a decentralized system, the more decentralized you are, the harder it is to shut you down. And the Horizon platform does more than just crypto. As I mentioned, you can also privately chat with other people. And soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. So, learn more about Horizon at horizon.global, HORIZEN.global. Horizon is bringing privacy to life. There's a little bit more here from Twitter's, this is actually an AFP story about Twitter reaching out to their users, asking for input on what they want to see banned. So it's open season now. Dorsey, who is the operator there, the CEO at Twitter, Jack Dorsey, appeared before the Senate Intelligence Committee on foreign influence campaigns on social media, said that the messaging service was set up to function as a, quote, public square, unquote, but failed to deal with, quote, abuse, harassment, troll armies, and propaganda through bots. He told the senators, "We aren't proud of how that free and open exchange has been weaponized and used to distract and divide people and our nation." He says, "We found ourselves unprepared and ill-equipped for the immensity of the problems that we've acknowledged." Dorsey said Twitter has stepped up its effort to protect what he calls a, quote, healthy public square, unquote, but that the challenges were daunting. Look, Mr. Dorsey, you can't have it both ways. It can't be a public square and private property at the same time. If you would like Twitter to be a public square, then just go ahead and hand it over to the government like the right-wingers, like some of the right-wingers like Chris Cantwell are demanding happen. Because that would be a public square. The government has public squares.
Right, and I forget the specifics, but I know that there have been at least one politician that has been taken to federal court for blocking users on Twitter. And the courts ruled that that was infringing on the blockees.
Wasn't that Trump who was blocking people?
He was, but there have been others as well.
Yeah.
That's why I said at least one. And I believe in all of the cases that I'm aware of, the courts have ruled that, you know, Twitter kind of is a public accommodation sort of something so that politicians can't block users using the outlet. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Twitter must provide service to everyone.
Okay, I think that the ruling that you're talking about was more about how when this person, or because this person is a government person,
right,
that it's against the rules for them to moderate away content. That's, I think, what you're trying to express, because
right, but it was one of these
Twitter's
things,
not public; it's private property.
Right, but you know the ruling said, you know, like it had the thing to do with what you said of because you're a public official,
You have some
can't
obligation of some
blot
sort.
it off. But it also somewhere in the ruling, and again, I'd have to pull it up, but there was something about, you know, because it's a public
open
place
to the public.
or something.
It's a public place in that 7-Eleven is a public place, and that anybody without prior restriction can walk into that place.
Right.
That much is true.
Right. So, you know, like 7-Eleven can't be obligated to just wind up being a homeless shelter because, oh, well, I'm the public and I just want to be here.
Right. And in the same way that, you know, you can't walk into the 7-Eleven and just start screaming at the top of your lungs for 10 minutes over in the corner and expect nothing to happen to you. It's still private property, but it's private property that's open to the public.
Right.
Initially.
Which some people refer to that as public accommodation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I can see
so
that.
So it's not public property, but it's public accommodation.
Right. Unlike a private club in which you would not just be able to walk in, you'd have to have a membership and,
right. So
and
like,
all that.
You can't just necessarily walk into the Moose Lodge or the Elks Lodge or the
You can walk in,
Water
but then they're
Buffalo.
going to say, "What, you know, show us your ID or show us that you're a member or whatever."
You're not a member here. Go away.
You can't go in any further, and you can't get our services without being a private member of the club. So Dorsey, again, using language like public square is going to strengthen arguments for taking over Twitter and having the government regulate social media, which I think is a very scary thing. And I think that it would be an incredibly poor precedent to set as far as freedom is concerned. Because there are people out there like the Chris Cantwells of the world who feel like they've been jilted by Twitter's, their rules, and they think that bringing the government in is going to solve their problems and make everything fair. Well, no, it won't.
Right.
It's going to create even more problems. It's going to make the service even worse than it's already been. Create and promote the alternative. Pick one. There are plenty of them out there. Or make one from scratch if you've got the programming chops, like they did with Mastodon. They said, you know what, we don't want to go with just some other centralized corporation running a supposed free speech platform to find out that, oh, whoops, well, it was free speech when we started it, but then this free speech got a little icky and got a little, hard to handle, too controversial, so it's no longer free speech.
Right.
Just go and create your own platform and promote it. That's always been the best way, rather than begging politicians to do your bidding, and they'll never get it right. More coming up.
Ever wonder how Bitcoin and Ethereum were created? Vercel Media has helped hundreds of companies and individuals make their own cryptocurrency. Decentralized blockchain solutions are making the world more transparent and giving power back to the people. Vercel Media has helped companies raise tens of millions in the past year alone, structuring and marketing ICOs to the thirsty crypto public worldwide. Don't miss the cryptocurrency revolution. Visit vercelmedia.com, VERCEL media.com.
Do the letters IRS give you anxiety? I'm Dan Pilla. I've defended people from the IRS for more than 40 years. My book, How to Get Tax Amnesty, created the tax resolution industry and is responsible for helping hundreds of thousands of people. It can help you too. If you're a non-filer or facing IRS enforcement right now, your case is unique. You need real help, not cookie-cutter advice. My clients get my personal attention. Buy my book at danpilla.com and get a free consultation directly with me. That's danpilla.com. Let's start solving your tax problem right now.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually.
Whoa.
Hey.
Who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't going to make it.
Wait
now.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free to join us here on the radio waves. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. 855-450-3733. Also, we've got Discord over at discord.lrn.fm. Just jump on into our Discord on-air call-in line rooms, and we'll get you on the air. And you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with me, Ian.
And me, Daryl.
AnyPay.global is where you go if you want to get your retail establishment set up to accept cryptocurrency like Dash and Bitcoin and others at the point of sale. If you've already got a tablet of some sort at your point of sale, you're halfway done. Just go to AnyPay.global and sign up.
username, password, you're in. There's no requirements. They don't even validate your email address. So make sure if you're going to use your email for your username that you type it in correctly. But just go over there to anypay.global. You can get signed up. It's super easy. And then you put your crypto addresses into their back-end system. And once you've done with that, that's it. They know where to send your crypto. You just load up the app on the device in question at your point of sale, and you're done. You're accepting cryptocurrency. It really is that easy. Go try it for yourself. Again, there's almost nothing as far as length of time and difficulty that it takes to get signed up. It's super easy, and I don't know if it could be any easier. Anypay.global. Go send yourself over there and spend a few minutes getting set up and test it out for yourself. Anypay.global. As we continue here, we're talking about the big social media companies. First, it was the news that Twitter is looking to their users for advice on how to expand their already restrictive content permissions. But now you got news about Facebook getting hacked. According to the New York Times' Mike Isaac and Shira Frankel in a report filed today, Facebook said that an attack on its computer network had exposed the personal information of nearly 50 million users. The company said it discovered the breach this week. The attackers exploited a feature in Facebook's code. Normally that's called a bug.
Yes.
Not a feature. That allowed them to take over user accounts. Early Friday, Facebook forced more than 90 million users to log out of their accounts, a common safety measure taken when accounts have been compromised. Facebook said that it had fixed the vulnerability and notified law enforcement officials. Mark Zuckerberg, the company's chief executive, said, "We're taking it really seriously. I'm glad we found this, but it definitely is an issue that this happened in the first place." Unquote. Facebook said it didn't know the origin or identity of the attackers, nor had it fully assessed the scope of the attack. Its investigation is still in its beginning stages, they said. The attackers exploited 2 bugs, now we're using the right term here, New York Times, in the site's View As feature, which allows users to view their own profiles as if they were someone else, Facebook said. The feature was built to give users more control over their privacy. That was compounded by a flaw in Facebook's video uploading program, a software feature that was introduced in July of last year, which that flaw allowed attackers to steal so-called access tokens, digital keys that allow access to their accounts. It's not clear when the attack happened, but it appears to have occurred after the video uploading program was introduced.
Wow.
So sometime in the last year, they're saying this occurred. The attack was discovered as Facebook continued to contend with the aftermath of its role in a widespread Russian disinformation campaign, and now they're going back into, sort of...
Of course, they're tying this around to the Russians, and I'm surprised it took, what was that, like 5 paragraphs before mentioning the Russians?
Yeah.
I'm surprised in the first paragraph, Facebook hacked. We don't know if it was the Russians.
In the conference call Friday, I'm skipping some of the sort of the history of Facebook testifying in front of Congress and all that. Their vice president of product management declined to say whether the attack could have been coordinated by hackers supported by a nation state. He said the attack was, quote, complex, unquote, and leveraged 3 separate bugs in Facebook's code that, once compounded, provided widespread access to user accounts.
Yay.
Millions of them. Hackers also tried to harvest people's private information, including name, sex, and hometown, from Facebook's systems. Facebook has been reshuffling its security team since their chief security officer left in August for a teaching position at Stanford University.
And then there's also been a lot of, shall we say, backlash over API access after the Cambridge Analytica
thing.
Scandal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where, used to, Facebook would just wind up giving anybody API access, and then, it came out that this Cambridge Analytica was, doing a lot of stuff with information, and I forget exactly what the allegations were, and people were all up in arms of, I can't believe that somebody was getting my information when I clicked, I authorize to share my information.
Do you remember when people were passing around, I think it might have been a little before the Cambridge Analytica, or maybe around remember when people were putting like notices on their Facebook account like, this is not a consent to use my information.
Oh, yeah, that was like a decade ago. Citing some UCC something, copyright law, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, as though they could somehow negate the terms of service, which they already agreed to when they signed up for Facebook.
Right, but like the Cambridge Analytica thing, it was you know how some websites you can log in with Facebook?
Yes, that's right.
Cambridge Analytica allowed people to log into something that they had with Facebook, and then
grab their
you
info.
would wind up saying, I authorize you to something.
Yeah. Take
you
all
are
my information. Yeah.
sharing the following information with these people. And then they got upset when they
said yes.
found out that... No, they didn't get upset that they said yes. They got upset when they found out that these
shared.
entities that they had agreed to share information with...
Used
the information that they had shared.
Yeah. So there's another statement here, the very end of this story. Senator Mark Warner, a Democrat from Virginia and one of Facebook's most vocal critics in Congress, said in a statement, quote, "This is another sobering indicator that Congress needs to step up and take action to protect the privacy and security of social media users." He says a full investigation should be swiftly conducted and made public so we can understand more about what happened.
All right, so... I'm going to put on my conspiracy hat for just a moment and say, what if this Facebook thing and the Twitter thing, because both of these kind of hit the news within the last couple of days, right?
Yep.
What if both of them are coordinated efforts to try to get the federal government to socialize social media?
Well, that's the thing.
And then... Mark Zuckerberg becomes some high-level bureaucrat.
Oh, yeah. On the regulatory board.
Yeah. And then Facebook becomes, a government entity under some, Department of Memes or whatever. Yeah. And then Twitter is also some government something. And then it just winds up giving them even more power. But then there's no option. What? You want to be able to vote? You have to have a Facebook and a Twitter.
Oh, my God. God, I hope they're not listening to you right now, Daryl, because those are terrible ideas.
There was already a proposal in New Hampshire, and luckily it failed, that would have made email address and telephone number
required,
no longer optional on the voter registration forms.
Yeah, that's insane.
Luckily it failed.
Yeah, that's insane. That's totally, going to disenfranchise large groups of people who don't have email addresses.
That don't want to share a telephone number.
But what you're saying here is scarily close to becoming a reality because you have people on both of the political, left and right spectrum here, this paradigm, who are both calling for the same thing, which is why I accused Chris Cantwell of being a communist now. I said, have you become a communist because you're asking for the very same thing that the communists are asking for, which is to say, to take over, to have the government take over and begin regulating these social media constructs.
Right. And
that's very scary.
I want to point out that the sort of idea that I pitched, not my idea. There's actually a movie that came out last year called The Circle about some social media site that they wound up convincing the government we should do electronic balloting. And because almost everybody in America uses our website, we'll just wind up having that be the voter registration forms.
So look out, because people on the left and the right are calling for regulation of social media, and that to me is a very, very scary concept.
Yeah.
We're out of time here for this. We're going to continue with Free Talk Live and Edgington Post coming up in the final moments.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bill Deagle, MD, AAEM, ACAM, A4M. of NutriMedical.com and a consultant providing email advice free on advanced protocols for your optimized wellness and advanced technologies to heal and regenerate you. You can contact us at NutriMedical.com, that's NutriMedical.com, or 888-212-8871. You get free email starter protocols of our top medical-grade nutraceuticals, initial testing, and recommendations for your own primary doctor to do, as well as recommendations to give you an idea of a consultation and a full protocol to try to help you regenerate your tissues, heal naturally without the use of toxic polypharmacy. I can send test kits to you as well anywhere in the world and provide you recommendations to referral of specialty clinics worldwide. So contact me, Dr. Bill Deagle, at NutriMedical.com. That's NutriMedical.com, or 888-212-8871.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
All right, it's another edition of the Edgington Post Show. This is Mark Edge. Final segment here of Free Talk Live. I love bringing new and different people to you. Today I've got Nancy Altman. And Nancy, I know you're with the organization Social Security Works.
That's correct. I am president of Social Security Works. And I also chair a very broad-based, diverse coalition that is working to defend and also expand Social Security.
One of my first thoughts is that, why, I've never considered Social Security working at all. I'm going to give you the opportunity. You go first. Tell me what works about Social Security. What's good about it?
Actually, just about everything is good. It is the most important source of disability and often the only source of disability insurance, life insurance, and joint and survivor old age retirement annuities that most Americans have. 2/3 of America's workers do not have any private disability insurance, but they are all insured against risk of disability, the financial effect of disability under Social Security.
We're talking about SSI here?
I was talking about the Old Age Survivors Disability Insurance Program, which we normally call Social Security. Most people think of it as a program for retirees, and it is, of course, a very important function. It provides 2/3 of seniors with the majority of their income, 1/3 of seniors with virtually all of their income. But what a lot of people don't realize is 1 out of 3 beneficiaries is not getting retirement benefits. In fact, it's the nation's largest children's program. Children either directly getting benefits because they're children of a worker who has died, a worker who has become disabled and can no longer work, or living with often grandparents who are receiving Social Security. It's the largest source of income of families where grandparents are raising their grandchildren.
So the children are living in the houses where the grandparents receive Social Security, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And it is an extremely efficient program. Less than a penny of every dollar goes to administration. More than 99 cents of every dollar is returned in benefits. And that's an efficiency that you cannot find with private insurance. You can't find it with traditional employer-sponsored pension plans. You certainly cannot find it with 401k savings plans, where there are often all kinds of hidden fees, and often the administrative costs are 10, 15% or more.
If you compare it in that way, it's sort of looking at it like charity. If you give money to charity, you always want the most of it to go to the people that you're giving it to. I've seen all these memes that say, don't give to the Red Cross because there's too much administration. I don't know. I'm not claiming that that's true. I'm only claiming that I have heard that. And you should give to this list of charities here because that amount of percentage goes. But one of the things I think of when I hear that is that to some extent it's competing against old age investment things. So I could potentially take the 15% of my paycheck that goes to Social Security, or the 7.5% of my paycheck, and then the 7.5% that's matched by the employer, and I could put it in something else. And in all likelihood, it would do better because my understanding is that Social Security returns like 1%. It's like an investment that turns a 1% return rate. It beats a savings account, but not by much.
But the thing that makes clear about, of course, Social Security is not charity, but it's also not savings, it's insurance. These are premiums that people pay. The FICA, the 6.2%, and then another 1.45% for Medicare are premiums. FICA, everybody says, who's this FICA?
Yeah.
It stands for the Federal Insurance Contributions Act. Mm-hmm. Insurance contributions, in today's parlance, is a premium. And in 1939, when FICA was enacted, they did not have these No Child Left Behind sort of Madison Avenue titles. Their tax bills were called Revenue Acts. Their collective bargaining, giving workers the right to collectively bargain, was the National Labor Relations Act. And when they were enacting the premium payments for Social Security, they called it what it was, Federal Insurance Contributions Act. So it's not really right to say, well, what return could I get? Because like all insurance, if your house doesn't burn down, if you don't die prematurely, you don't get anything, but that's what you're paying for. You're getting the protection. And Social Security, rich or poor, any of us can die prematurely, leaving young children. Any of us, rich or poor, can have a disabling illness or accident, and we all hope to grow old. And if you're fortunate enough to age to 100, 110, you will still get that Social Security check every single month. Unlike savings, you cannot outlive Social Security. So what this is providing is insurance that all workers need. As long as we're dependent on wages for food and shelter and clothing and so forth, we need insurance against the loss of those wages to be economically secure. And that's what Social Security provides.
Can you explain to me this analogy that you're using towards insurance? It's more than an analogy. You're claiming it is insurance.
Correct.
Because to me, it seems like it's this thing you should figure on, that people do figure on for retirement. Retirement is or old age, becoming 60 and a half or whatever the minimum age is for
62, but yes.
62. Becoming 62 is nearly an inevitability. To me, that doesn't seem like insurance. That seems like savings. You should save for inevitabilities.
Except that death is 100% certainty.
Yes.
And yet there is life insurance. We're all going to die.
Right, but life insurance is for...
But it's prudent to have life insurance.
For my earning period or what.
And that is insurance. That's
right.
That's not something else.
Sure. So life insurance, I don't currently have any because my wife will be fine. So life insurance is sort of to cover money that your spouse needs in case you die, and you may or may not need that. Yes, it's insurance for when you die, but the premiums go up as you get closer to the inevitable point of death. So if you start your life insurance at 20, then it's very, very low. I guess I still don't see
why Social Security is so efficient. Because you start it the moment you start paying. You can't say, okay, well, I'm 59, so I'm no longer worried about dying prematurely, or I'm 61 and a half. I'll gamble that I'll be there 6 months and I'll buy the Social Security. You have to start paying with your first paycheck when you're working as a summer intern or your first job out of school. You are contributing, you are covered by Social Security. So there's nothing that insurance parlance, as you know, it's called adverse selection. As I say, I'm about to get sick, so I'm going to get some health insurance now. You've got to start paying from the beginning. Insurance is most efficient when it covers the largest risk pool possible and there's no what they call adverse selection. And the only entity that can cover all of us and mandate that we all participate is Social Security. Now, I know libertarians don't want to be mandated, but the American people have from the beginning seen this as an important source of economic security. And the way to make it work is to have everybody participate.
For me, I remember when George Bush wanted to redo Social Security, and I kind of supported that. It sounded like, that sounds good. Generally, if the government's involved, it's a catastrophe. Nonetheless, it sounded like a good idea to be able to give the people the opportunity to decide whether or not that's what they want to do, whatever program they wanted. Maybe I don't want to do Social Security. Maybe I want to do an investment fund or whatever that might be. And then they'd have to live with the consequences. And to some extent, to me, that says, well, I mean, I'd rather get a better return on my money. Also, I think to myself, you're never going to know what a good result is unless you have a bad result. Sometimes people have to make bad choices in order for us to see what the bad choices are like so that people make good decisions. You have to see what it's like if somebody doesn't save their money so that you know to save your money. With Social Security, there are people that rely on this and they don't have enough money. They're buying dog food, I've heard.
Let me unpack a bit of that. Everyone should save. And there are lots of incentives in the tax law to save, and everyone can save on their own. I cannot, unless I'm extremely wealthy, self-insure. Insurance is something you need to have others participate with. The founders, and my book, The Truth About Social Security, really went back and read what Franklin Roosevelt and Francis Perkins, but others of the founders, less well known, said about it. And part of their idea was that to get out of the immediate distress of the Depression, there was no way to avoid welfare. But what they wanted was something in place that would be there in good times and bad times and would reduce reliance on welfare. Welfare alleviates poverty. What Social Security does and other insurance is prevents you from falling into poverty. That's why people have insurance. So again, I'm all for saving, but there are certain kinds of risks. You don't save if you have a house. You don't have a private account in case your house burns down. You have fire insurance. If you have a car, you don't have a private savings account in case you get into a car accident. You have car insurance. Now, disability and life insurance are easier to see, and that's 1 out of 3 beneficiaries. But retirement as well, you don't know when you're starting your working life if you're going to live to 50 or you're going to live to 110. Obviously, if you're going to live to 50, you're not going to have to save anything if you live for retirement. If you live to 110, you probably aren't going to be able to save enough. That's why we pool our risk and we have Social Security. That is the concept behind it. Some people say we need to modernize Social Security or we should transform it, as you say, have savings and let people have choice. But the founders were quite farsighted in the way that they viewed this. And in fact, Social Security, as is modern today in concept as it was back then, as long as you are dependent on wages, what do you do if you die and you've got children who are depending on those wages? What do you do if you get hit by a truck and you're so disabled you can't work?
How does Social Security address children dependent on wages if I die? I really just don't understand that part. To hear the rest of this great interview, go to archives.freetalklive.com and get the MP3. Look for today's date there and download or just listen on the web. archives.freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog